Good evening. Welcome to a new episode of Political Pulse. Today we'll be talking about who will be Kamala Harris's VP pick, as it is apparent now that she will be the Democratic nominee, replacing Joe Biden on the top of the ticket. All this on a new episode of Political Pulse. And good evening. Welcome to this new episode of Political Pulse. I'm your host, LPP, here with my dear friend Sammy.
Hello.
Joining as our analyst. And today we'll be talking about who will be Kamala Harris's VP pick. Now, as you all remember on Sunday, Joe Biden suspended his presidential campaign and endorsed Kamala Harris for the nomination. And then the next day, she received majority of the delegates' endorsement for the nomination. So now, many are now wondering who could be her VP pick. And that's what we're going to be discussing here today. So, according to multiple sources, the reported short list that these are people that received vetting materials from the Harris campaign. Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, he denied getting any vetting materials. Secretary of Commerce Gio Raimondo, and former Director of the Office of Public Engagement Cedric Richmond. But again, these are people who reportedly got vetting materials. These people are reported finalists. You got Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. You got North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. And Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. So what do we think of this list for VP picks?
I think it's pretty good actually. I think all of these guys could do fairly well in an election in the finalists. I think for the reported shortlist, it's a lot weaker.
A lot weaker.
Oh yeah, you've got Pete Buttigieg, which is almost a guaranteed loss. Like,
Yeah.
during the primaries, he had literally 0% with black voters, which is just
Oh
insane.
man.
He would just destroy any of their chances in like Georgia or North Carolina or really any minority heavy state. JB Pritzker is decent, I guess. I like him in terms of policy.
But
He's
again,
very.
he comes from a state where they have corrupt politicians.
That's true. He's a very populist
But he's very
person.
populist.
He could help fund the campaign just himself since he's a billionaire. But
And,
I
Gina Raimondo,
yeah
she's basically known for just being the designated survivor of the State of the Union 2 years ago.
yeah basically
Nothing much.
it. Yeah.
And Cedric Richmond, he was just a Louisiana congressman before Biden appointed him to some office in the administration
Yeah, I
that
don't know
no
who
one
he
ever
is.
heard of.
Exactly.
But now,
I think
the
all
important thing about these five for the reported finalists, four out of five of them come from key states that could determine this election.
and 4 out of 5 of them are governors. And Democrats since 1948 have only ever picked senators for vice president. I think.
Yeah. And, well, we
So
know Andy Beshear and his state will likely not be in play. We know that.
yeah, no. I used to be very Shapiro or die in terms of like who's gonna win. But as I've warmed up to Kamala Harris's chances, I think all of them, and I've warmed up to all of these candidates' potential, and I think that all of them could help her in very different ways, but in very good ways. Mark Kelly, he's married to
Gabby Giffords.
Gabby Giffords, who has an incredible war story. He's a former astronaut, and he would basically guarantee them the state of Arizona. He's extremely popular there. Won the state by 4.9, I believe, in
Yeah.
2022. Roy Cooper is extremely popular in the state of North Carolina. He managed to flip it blue. I think it was the first statewide race since Obama in 2008 which is just insane. He has so much pull with those voters, and he can drive out the suburbs to the
I
point where he
think
doesn't even need to pull out black turnout.
I think
Um,
he's probably the only Democrat holding statewide office. Or wait,
yeah, I
does
think
the
so.
Attorney General hold statewide office in
Oh
North
yeah,
Carolina?
but that's kind of tied to Roy Cooper.
Toward Roy
Um,
Cooper. Yeah,
Tim Walz is also very good. I like his policy.
but he's
He's
not very well known nationally. Tim Walz.
yeah.
I
I
think
think
the George
that's
Floyd protest, his response to it, I believe.
yeah, that's fair. And he's from Minnesota, which like is basically already going to go Democratic. It's not as safe as a state like Kentucky,
Well, I
but
mean,
it like Democrats don't have to try that hard.
yeah, I mean, Republicans think they could flip Minnesota, but it's obviously going to stay blue.
Yeah. I think the main person here that I'm most excited for is Josh Shapiro. I'm not a huge fan of the man's policies. He seems like a standard
And
center left. You know, he's pro-Israel. I'm not a huge fan. But
I just want to point this out though. So I have my map here for the election
hmm,
with the swing states. So New Hampshire's going to be safe. So if Shapiro is the
whoa,
Democratic
whoa,
vice
what's
presidential
Virginia doing?
nominee.
What's Virginia doing there?
Oh, that's a good question. In Hawaii.
Oh, why?
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? Hawaii's going red this year.
Oh,
No.
that's so true, brother.
Yeah, yeah. Hasn't gone red in forever.
Ever.
Never since Reagan.
Oh yeah.
So if Shapiro is the nominee for vice president, he can help Harris win the Rust Belt. And if you see that, it gets her to 270, and she wouldn't even need North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, or Nevada.
Mhm. I think a more likely outcome with Shapiro, honestly, is he doesn't do very well. I wouldn't say that his weakness in the outside of Pennsylvania in the Rust Belt is his pro-Israel stance and his more neoliberal kind of policy rather than being a populist, which could hurt him in a state like Wisconsin or Michigan. So I think a more
And
likely
I'm
possibility
thinking that
would
if it was
yeah
Mark Kelly, she could repair some of the Rust Belt stuff and probably get the abortion message, excuse me,
there you go. Oh yeah,
around in Arizona and Nevada.
that's
But Nevada, I doubt.
yeah,
Probably,
Nevada. It's shifting to the right extremely fast.
it's shifting to the right.
It's not fairly obvious because it voted for Democrats the same margin in 2016 and 2020. But then when you account for the change in the national environment, then you can see that it's actually shifting to the right. And like I could see it voting for Kamala Harris, but I think this is the easiest path for Kamala Harris to win,
Yeah.
whether she has Mark Kelly or Josh Shapiro, because I think Michigan is
But
more likely to go to her than not. I think Shapiro could give her Pennsylvania, and I think Shapiro being more like center left, being more moderate, more pro Israel, could possibly land her Arizona, so they don't have to get Wisconsin.
Well, I tell you, if Buttigieg was the nominee for vice president, here you go.
Yeah.
and speaking about what you said earlier about how he has no appeal with black voters, I remember I was watching this SNL sketch from 2020 where it was like a debate,
Oh yeah.
and it was Colin Jost portraying Pete Buttigieg,
Oh yeah.
and the moderator, the fake moderator, was asking Pete Buttigieg, "Why do you think you don't have any appeal with black voters?" Then Colin Jost said as Pete Buttigieg, "Well, it maybe
This
is because of this," and he's moving his hand up and down, pointing
oh
at his
yeah.
face.
That's a good one.
uh, well, let's look at the profiles of these VP picks, shall we?
I
Um,
think I
I
think
forget I'm not presenting.
I don't think we have touched on Andy Bashir yet. And I think
Uh,
he
you know,
while he might not be from that competitive of a state, he does offer an appeal to white voters, which Kamala Harris simply does not. You've seen her fall compared to Biden in white educated voters, she seems to be doing worse than
Yeah,
Biden by like 9 points, and that could lose her some of the suburbs. Whereas Andy Bashir, he talks about these like
yeah, but sure could help
left.
her with the suburbs.
Yeah, he helps. He talks about these more left leaning points about how, like, trans people are just like us, but he says them in such a folksy, youthful way. It almost comes off as Joe Biden. He says like trans people are children of God too,
Oh my
and that
God.
can appeal to people in the suburbs
Uh-huh.
extremely well, even if
And
his home state isn't very competitive.
honestly, I think the top two finalists for VP picks is Shapiro and Kelly.
I agree.
And because
I th- I think
so for our viewers who do not know who these people are, so Josh Shapiro was the Attorney General of Pennsylvania for how long is that? 6 years? 7 years? 6 years, I believe. He was the Attorney General for 6 years, then he ran for governor in 2022 against Doug Mastriano, who was endorsed by Donald Trump. And
he
so I
destroyed
remember
him.
in 2022, I saw this one report where Mastriano was at one of his rallies and he told his supporters that he would ban pole dancing in public schools. I was like,
Like, what the
what?
fuck? What are you talking about?
That's a true story. That
Jesus.
actually happened. And because of that extremist rhetoric, he lost in a landslide.
Yeah, he's
But compared to Fetterman,
he's like, and Shapiro partially dragged Fetterman to basically 5%,
yeah,
margin of victory, which is crazy for Pennsylvania.
yeah, this is
Um,
crazy though, considering.
Shapiro or Mastriano was basically like a white nationalist. He was such an
Exactly,
extremist.
exactly.
It was horrible.
Yeah,
So
and his
that
large
does kind
margin
of,
of victory was widely credited with helping down ballot Democrats in the concurrent elections
yeah,
in Pennsylvania. Oh,
and that does kind of help like inflate Shapiro's numbers in this governor race. I'm sure if the Republicans nominated someone better, he would have won by a lot less, and maybe even Fetterman would have lost. So that does
probably.
kind of take
But
away from.
Dr. Oz, he had those issues as well with
Oh
his
yeah,
state residency.
Oz sucked.
Because there were reports he was in New Jersey, from New
Yeah,
Jersey, and Fetterman helped prove this point with this video that Dr. Oz posted, where he was at the
Crudite.
store and he said the wrong name of the store,
Ah, oh yeah.
and it turns out it was a store in New Jersey that he was
Oh,
talking about. So
oh
that pretty
snap.
much screwed his campaign.
Yeah, but like I think Shapiro is credited with winning by 15, and that's still impressive. But I think if he went against an actual good candidate, he only would have won by like maybe 5, you know,
Yeah,
which is still pretty good. But it's still really good. But I think being like, oh, he won by 15, that's so crazy. He was running against a white nationalist.
yeah. And so moving on to Mark Kelly. As we know, Mark Kelly was a former astronaut.
Woo-hoo.
He is the most amazing life story.
Oh yeah.
He was in the U.S. Navy. Then he became an astronaut. He's the husband of Representative Gabby Giffords, who also served in Arizona. She was shot and nearly killed in an assassination attempt like 13 years ago.
And that can help sway voters on gun violence.
And she has been an advocate for gun safety ever since.
Oh yeah.
Gun control. Yep. And that could help around there.
He's
And
got like the perfect
he was
wife.
elected to the U.S. Senate in 2020 in a special election
Hmm.
after John McCain passed. pretty much gaining the support of the McCain Republicans and
Hmm.
flipping the largest the largest populated county in Arizona, Maricopa, which is the one that's pointing on here.
Yep.
Yeah,
The bellwether.
the bellwether. So yeah, Kelly's, if he was VP pick, it could help could help her Kamala with gun violence advocates and abortion rights people.
But like she's already kind of got those, and Arizona's only one slice of the pie. You still got to win some kind of Rust Belt state or some kind of other Sun Belt state.
Yeah, and
Even if you win Arizona, that's only one step of the way.
let me head back to the yepms.com, which is the election map thing. I don't know how to call it, but I
I
usually
call it
call it
Yapmas.
yaps. I usually call it
Uh,
yaps.
Yapms.
Yeps. So let's get out these swing states. All right, so we're back here. So I think Shapiro, the nominee, vice presidential pick, he could win Michigan and Pennsylvania for Harris,
I agree. There's some
and
argument to
he
be
could.
made. Since he's pro-Israel, he'd lose a lot of the Muslim voters in Michigan. To that, I just say Harris is pro-Palestine. She can just campaign there. You know?
Honestly, the people in Michigan who are saying that bullshit, they're just being ridiculous.
Yeah, they're gonna vote
And
Democrat
I
either
tell you,
way.
one of those representatives refused to condemn death to America,
Hmm. I mean,
and
what?
TPC refused to condemn it as well.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, I don't want to have beef with TPC. Um, okay,
I just
I
wanted to point that out.
I think they might be against Harris or Biden right now, but when the attack ads come against Trump and they see that Trump is even worse on Israel and he's even more pro-Israel and he's telling them finish the job, they're gonna vote for Harris, no matter what.
Yeah. So seeing those people burn the flag really got me mad. But Michigan and Pennsylvania, Harris could win those. Lose Wisconsin. She could probably get the abortion message around in Arizona,
And that's the victory.
but that's a victory. And then she would probably lose Nevada,
I think
and
that's the easiest
Georgia,
pathway.
and North Carolina.
There's a
And
possibility that she like drives up black turnout in Georgia, but I don't know how Shapiro would really help her in that. He could maybe help with suburbs, maybe, but
maybe.
she'd need a good VP as well to be able to win Georgia, I think.
And what would we think the map would be for Kelly? Would it basically be the same thing?
Mm, I don't know. I think
For
I mean obviously Arizona goes blue. Um Michigan is also obviously goes blue. Um hmm, Aside from that it's kind of tough.
I
Maybe
think
Nevada goes
Nevada,
blue as well.
maybe Nevada goes blue probably.
Yeah. But then I don't know about Pennsylvania or Wisconsin.
Could possibly win very narrowly there in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and Wisconsin will probably go to Trump. And but now, if Cooper was the pick, oh Jesus,
Obviously, I mean, if Cooper's the pick, it's very different. Um
I I
I
think
think
they would Trump would win North Dakota, not North Dakota, North Carolina, even if Cooper was on the ticket with Harris.
I don't know. I mean,
Uh,
obviously, I think Harris wins Georgia pretty easily. Uh,
yeah,
Maybe by a lean margin or something. If
yeah.
Cooper's on the ticket.
This is without margins.
Um, yeah, yeah. I think she also pulls through
Um,
Arizona.
oh, I'm sorry. It's that time of day on Snapchat. All my notifications are going off.
I
Okay,
think
Lord.
um Cooper really can accentuate and like help her with the Sun Belt strategy, which is Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. Do they pull through? I don't know, but Roy Cooper is a lot less of a of like a populist, so I think he would do worse in the Rust Belt, but way better in the Sun Belt. Maybe even pull through North Carolina. I don't know. It really depends on how much she can drive up the black vote. But if she does that, she doesn't need the Rust Belt. And I think she would
Yeah,
definitely use Michigan and Pennsylvania or Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Michigan is close. I think the two closest states in this race would be Michigan and North Carolina. Honestly,
Michigan, North Carolina.
I think they
So
could
this
go either way.
go either way. What about Bashir?
Okay,
I mean,
Bashir.
Bashir, North Carolina's gone.
Yeah, it's a very unique case. I think Nevada's gone. Honestly, I don't know how well he does with minorities since Kentucky doesn't have very many. Um, but I think his appeal with white voters could swing more white states towards him. So maybe it could help him in the Georgia suburbs, but it could also hurt him with black turnout. But Harris could help him with that. I don't know. Georgia's close. And it could also be close in Wisconsin or Pennsylvania. Because there's tons of white voters there. He's not a very populist person, but he's also very folksy and he can appeal to them quite well without striking a populist message. So I think Pennsylvania or Wisconsin could go blue.
Let's just
Um,
say probably Pennsylvania.
yeah, and then that's yeah, that works.
Yeah, 287, 251. This is probably like how they would say go if Biden won Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, but Trump wins Georgia. That's
Yeah,
how the same result would have been.
I think in this map the two closest would be Georgia and Wisconsin because there's so many white people in Wisconsin.
So many. Yep. All right. Well, 22 minutes. That's one of our shortest episodes. um, so, going back to the VP page. I mean, as of July 24th, Andy Bashir, Roy Cooper, Mark Kelly, Josh Shapiro, and Tim Walz were reported on a short list. And an official told ABC News on July 23rd that Kelly and Shapiro were the leading candidates. But then another source told Talking Points memos that the following day that Cooper was the initial top choice. At this point, Sammy, who do you think would be the VP?
Um, I think this is honestly close because I don't know
All of
how
them are
Mark
such good
Kelly
choices.
can. Yeah, they're all great choices. Even Tim Walz, honestly. I think the trends point to Mark Kelly. He's the only senator, and the Dems haven't picked anyone who isn't a senator since 1948. Um, but like, I
Well,
I think if
wasn't
I
Joe Biden
had,
the senator in 2008?
yeah, he was.
Ah,
I think, mm, honestly, I think Josh Shapiro barely takes it because this whole
yeah.
campaign has been a Hail Mary to try and swing the election last minute to the Democrats. And at this point, like, screw what Harris thinks because I know she's good friends with Roy Cooper. This election is about barely winning and just like, Hail Marying. So I think they would Hail Mary and pick the best candidate, which
And
would
if Joe
be,
Biden wants to preserve his legacy, he'll probably better to pick a VP candidate that will help Harris win the White House.
oh yeah. I think they're going to sit Harris down and be like, look, I know you're good friends with Roy Cooper, but I don't know if he can really win because he would probably lose a lot of the Rust Belt. And I don't know if he'd even win his home state. It'd be close. I think
Yeah.
Mark Kelly would only really help her in Arizona and maybe Nevada. I think Josh Shapiro is the best choice, and I think at this point it's probably the choice that they will make. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was Mark Kelly or either.
Yeah. So moving on so speaking of VP picks, honestly, I think Trump is really starting to reconsider about picking JD Vance as his running mate.
Oh, the Mountain Dew.
No. So there's this interview with him from 2021 that resurfaced when he was on Tucker Carlson, when Tucker Carlson was still on Fox News.
Mm.
Um, so he called women who did not have children childless cat ladies.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
There you
And he
go.
was
Republicans
basically
are showing
calling
their true
Kamala
colors.
Harris a childless cat lady because the children she has with Doug Emhoff are his children from another marriage.
Wow. Jesus, what an asshole.
And lots
honestly.
of women have been taking to social media attacking him for saying that.
Good. He's such a piece of shit. I hope she wins the woman vote by like 20 points.
Yeah, she'll probably. Well, the woman vote has always gone to the Democrats. So,
Oh yeah. But I hope she like increases it by a ton.
yeah. Plus, she's
What
winning
an
back
ass.
Harris is winning back key demographics that Joe Biden was losing.
Oh yeah, but she's losing key demographics that Biden was winning, like white college educated.
Well,
So
I remember the other day I was looking on CNN and it was comparing, and last poll that had Biden's support with the black vote before he dropped out was 77% among black voters. Donald Trump had 17%.
which is horrible.
And now Kamala Harris has 88% of black voters support.
Woo!
Exactly.
Hey, this goes out to all the haters that said, "Oh, she's gonna do worse with black men. Oh, she's gonna lose black men. Ah, la la la." Shut up. She wins Georgia. Lick my balls. Sorry.
Oh man. I mean, if she wins, she'll be the first African American, first Asian American, and first woman to be president. Sorry, Hillary, but it is what it is.
Hillary Clinton is kicking herself.
Hillary Clinton's probably shooting herself in the foot.
And as we're speaking, like an hour ago, she just got Obama's endorsement and Michelle.
Oh yeah, I saw that video.
So she's not
Obama
running. I don't know
her.
all like the idiots that said, "Oh, Michelle Obama's gonna run." No.
No, sadly she won't run. Well, always save her for 2032, I guess.
Oh God.
I mean, Hillary waited 20 years to run. Oh wait, no, not if you count 2008.
But like Hillary Clinton's always wanted to run, you know, whereas Michelle Obama's always hated the presidency.
And she was going to be the first woman president, but the silent majority had its word.
The silent, not plurality. She won the popular vote, so
she won the popular.
The silent majority in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah, because all them Sanders voters voted for Trump, switched over to Trump. Yeah. Well, some of them did.
And then
I remember I was looking the other day at some of the results from 2016, and I looked at Vermont. 5% of Vermont voters in 2016 wrote in Bernie Sanders.
W. Thank you. Yeah, they love Bernie Sanders, and that's just goated. Goated activities. Thank you, Vermont. I love you.
Uh-huh. All right. So that's going to be all for today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back next Friday, and if there's any special reporting regarding someone's running mate. Oh wait, never mind. I don't think I'll be back next Friday.
She's gonna pick it by August 7th. So
August 7th, August 1st. I don't know. But anyways, until next time.
Woo!
Bye,
another
y'all.
episode of Political Polls.
LPP signing off.